Hello, everyone. I have Fable over here. Yes, he's right here. For one of these videos. Met's out because he passed out, and I'm about to pass out, but I haven't passed out yet.
Who passed out?
My friend Met. I'm not sure if you met them at this point.
I mean, I not personally. I've rated them and talked to them through Twitch, but not like had like a conversation with them in person. If that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Eee.
Yeah, that's how it be. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna watch stuff about SpongeBob SquarePants. And I know
SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob. Yeah.
I remember when it first came out. It's kind of crazy. I was so tiny.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Also, people want us to watch other types of videos, some involving Mega Man and whatnot. We'll get to all of those eventually. It'll just
Mega Man
take time for us, unfortunately.
Unless you pay me, I'll do it. I'll do it, but you gotta pay me, guys.
How
I'm not
about
even kidding.
this? If you guys somehow get me a 500 subs in March, I'll do a 24-hour reaction stream over on YouTube, just reacting to everything down the line from Discord. I might go insane, but I'll do it, goddammit.
If you guys give me free stuff, I won't do anything for you, but I'll be grateful.
Also, there is a thing of if anyone like gives me something on Throne, they can just have us react to something and over on a stream, and I'll just post it on YouTube. Anyway, let's head into this for SpongeBob.
Hey guys, check it out! I finally got one of these theme months that all the real YouTubers have. That's right, for the whole of the month of June, we're sticking to one subject and one subject only, and I'll be doing this for years past
Nick at Night.
If anyone's curious, I'm currently building the Unicorn Knight SD. It's really fun.
Unicorn! I immediately stab Fable.
But why?
Because that is the power of the new type destroyer mode. You go crazy and start attacking things.
This is Unicorn Knight, not friggin' new type destroyer mode.
Fable, all unicorn models have new type destroyer mode.
All models are butts. You're welcome.
Also, what else about new type destroyer mode? Also, do you know what some of the weird things that it can do? Like, you know, bits and funnels, those things that fly around and shoot at people?
Yeah.
Those can actively take control away from you and just control. New type destroyer mode basically takes control of them from you.
That's pretty weird, actually.
Yeah.
In Hitcher, I've hitched my wagon to Nickelodeon. Who doesn't have fond memories of watching classic Nicktoons like Spongebob and Fairly Odd Parents, getting into heated arguments about whether or not Avatar is anime, and immediately turning tail and watching
basically
on Channel 60 when those orange pricks tried to get me to go outside.
Oh yeah, remember the day of play?
With a lineup of classic shows, for sure to follow. That's what we're going to be looking at.
I did that one time. Like, I just changed the channel.
Himself, Sponge Boy Ahoy!
Oh, the Marine. He always has a cutaway with Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Background of the channel and SpongeBob in general. Nicktoons was launched in 1979 by Warner Brothers, and you can just tell from their first logo. Look,
really, this was launched by Warner Brothers. I actually didn't know that.
Which was a theater that would show movies on the cheap.
Really?
You know, for a nickel.
Oh!
Where the Odeon comes from. These were popular back in the 1910s.
Nickel
Great Depression, and for some reason they chose to theme the entire channel after a time period you have to ask your grandpop about.
Yeah, I never would have known this.
Nickelodeon. Children's programming that's fit for children. 13 hours of programming a day, 7 days a week.
13 hours, huh?
Wonder, laugh, ponder, and think.
Ah, yes, Youth of America, come to enjoy the satellite-provided broadcasts of the Nickelodeon People's Channel on your home entertainment center.
So what were Nickelodeon up to in these early years? Surely they were just pumping out some of those Nicktoons we all know and love.
No.
You got a dancing mime. What more can you ask for?
What?
Nickelodeon was not only not a very engaging channel from its inception, it was a massive loss leader, seeing as the channel basically had no way to turn a profit. They were paid to make the shows, not get people to watch them. Worse yet, there were no ads on the channel, so there was no money to be made there. But then what took up the time that should have been for the ads?
Yeah.
Bring back the mime! Nickelodeon was such a
What the
massive money pit that to make up for its failing, it was partnered with its much
Well-
cooler brother, MTV. See, when you have a channel that changed the way TV was used and a channel whose main attraction was, again, a dancing mime, might as well use one to pick up the slack of the other. 1981
I
was
can see
when
that.
Nickelodeon's fortunes didn't so much turn as they did briefly glance over their shoulder in the right direction as they
sorry,
managed
guys,
to
I'm
approach the
taking my
Canadian
pills
sketch
slightly
comedy show.
real
You can't
quick.
do that on
I can do
television
both.
and drag it across the border. Not only was it the first time Nickelodeon had a show worth
That's my
watching
medicine
that didn't
for my
involve
cough.
character actor Jonathan Schwartz dressed as the Charlie Chaplin that birthday places rent out when they can't get the rights to the real thing, but gave Nick what was
Alright.
essentially their lifeblood. Green slime. This paved the
Oh,
way for
yeah.
Double Dare, a game show that practically drenched itself in the stuff. And
Do you
would be
remember
another hit
watching
for
the
channel.
reruns of this?
However, you can't keep a
Oh,
channel
yeah.
going on two good shows because
Yeah.
Nickelodeon was failing and fast. No
Okay.
amount of miming could possibly pull him out of a hole this
Why
bad.
was there a
Let me
mime?
put it in perspective. In 1985,
Why
out of all
wasn't
cable
there a
TV
mime?
channels,
Here, have
Nickelodeon
this
ranked
cat
last.
chow.
Last.
Terrible.
You don't think about the fact there has to be a least viewed channel to go along with the
Yeah.
most
I want
viewed, do
the
you?
mime,
Nobody looks at the
please.
lowest selling games in a year, except for me, for a sick
No.
form of catharsis. Look, I might not be able to know how to tie my own shoes, but at least I'm
Sad.
not Babylon's fall.
Oh,
yeah,
God
disaster was
damn.
a bit of a light word to describe the channel's conditions, but
Yeah,
things
the
were gonna be
worst
different.
channel
So
rated
taping
on
them
the
to MTV
network.
to hide how badly they were doing was finally paying off, as when Viacom bought MTV for over $400 million, Nick was bought as well. Now, most people would see
Nice.
that they just had the worst rated channel in all of television dropped into their hands and in turn throw it in a dumpster.
Yeah.
Viacom, they for some reason thought they could just spit shine Nick so that it would outshine its rivals, Cartoon Network and the
Whoa.
Disney Channel. First order of business, make kids actually want to watch it. This is
Okay.
where they took cues from MTV. When I say
Makes
MTV, you
sense.
probably think of ridiculousness, ridiculousness, then maybe 20 more ridiculousnesses, and then you get to the old bumpers. These
Remember that? The ridiculousness show now? That's basically all it is anymore, I think.
To be honest, I don't. That one's
Eh.
interesting.
Ridiculousness is basically Rob Dyrdek watching videos with two of his friends.
Ah.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
were pretty much what
Interesting.
sold the network. They're iconic, they're
Yeah.
memorable, they were contemporary, colorful, and cool. It took being named
Okay.
the worst channel on all of television to think that maybe some of that colorfulness should be carried over to the channel made for children. The rebranding
Yeah,
was a go-go,
maybe.
bringing in the instantly recognizable shade of Nickelodeon orange, the
Nick,
splat
Nick,
logo,
Nick,
and the
Nick,
jingle
Nick,
that in some way, shape, or form persists
Nickelodeon.
today. Ready for the story to get a lot more confusing? Because it's about to. In 1991, Viacom decided that now would be a pretty good time to introduce cartoons to the network. Yeah, for about 12 years, this channel made for kids was completely
Whoa.
bereft of cartoons.
Why?
Would we need cartoons? We have the mime.
We don't
These weren't
need the
gonna be any old
mime.
cheaply made cartoons licensed
Nick,
out to some
we
outside
need the
animation company,
mime.
though, as
They
they were
never
going to be
do.
done in-house. Animation made
Oh,
by
why
Nick
not?
for Nick. The
No one
initiative
needs a
began
mime.
on August 11th when
Oh.
three
We
shows
need the
premiered. We
mime.
had Doug, Ren and Stimpy, and Rugrats.
Really?
First
Those
three
were some of the
Nicktoons.
first
Now, to call
shows?
Doug boring would be to call Fire hot, but in spite of that, it was a smashing success. Now the floodgates were open, and
And Ren and
creator-driven
Snippy.
animation was all the rage. While a lot of animation up until this
They
point was
lost
made with
the
the intention of
mime.
selling toys
Oh
to
my
kids,
God.
Nick wanted to do things differently. They weren't going to make shows like Transformers or He-Man where the aim was to get the kids interested in the next big toy to
He-Man.
buy. These were shows made
Oh, yeah.
by the animators.
I forgot that this was also one of their big things about not basically selling out and selling toys. They eventually caved, but, you know, it was a nice idea at the start. I'm glad he's not talking about the mime anymore.
I miss the mime.
Stop with the mime. I'll turn you into a mime.
It's a dream come true. Thank you.
Oh my god. Why is my life like this?
Hey man, yeah, I just wanted to react to Fuda.
I
Who
know.
made the cartoons would actually have control over what they made. As a result, all sorts of
Oh,
cartoons were made that
look,
to this day remain
the
vital
Beavers.
pieces of the television animation
Angry
media.
Beavers.
Angry Beavers.
Yeah.
Real Monsters.
I love those
Rocko's
Beavers.
Modern Life. Hey
Oh,
Arnold,
Rocco.
Cat Dog, Wild Thornberries. This was a channel that went from undesirable to undeniable. By
Yeah.
1995, less than a decade after being called unwatchable, Nickelodeon was the #1 TV station in America.
Yeah, everyone
Moreover,
remembers
they've kept
Wild
that spot for
Thornberrys
the
and all
last
those.
35 years.
I loved
Things didn't
Rocco's
slow
Modern
down either
Life.
once the Y2K bug flopped. Nick was cranking out more cartoons that defined a generation. Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy
Whatever,
Neutron,
kid.
Invader Zim, My Life
Invader
as a Teenage
Zim.
Robot, Danny Phantom, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I'm gonna be honest, and I'm probably gonna piss off a bunch of people, but I never liked Invader Zim.
Invader Zim was a very acquired taste, Fable. No one's going to...
It was.
I liked it, but also it terrified me as a child.
I can quote it for days because my friends made me watch a couple episodes, but like, other than that, I never really cared for the show, if I'm completely honest.
That's completely fine, Fable. Anyway.
I can literally quote it by like saying, "What's wrong? Spirit of Being, Space Boy." I can quote it, but I just don't like it.
It's fine, Fable, it's fine. Anyway. Yeah, there's a bunch of good shows, though. Do you remember... Rocco's Modern Life was always pretty good. Rocco's Modern Life. Rocco's Modern Life.
Sure, they made a cat
I've
scratch
got
every now and again,
so
but you've had
many
your
like
flag down in public
innuendos
before
and
you've done a
adult
cat scratch
jokes. It's
too.
ridiculous.
There was no denying
Yeah.
that by the mid-2000s, Nick
Everyone
was
If
still
you
at the top of their
look
game.
back at it now, like Jesus Christ, guys, they got away with a lot.
Yeah, a bunch of animation studios got away with a lot more than they probably should have been allowed to.
Yeah.
I just
Oh my
remember
goodness
the
gracious.
Animaniac saying, "Yes, I am Beethoven, the world's greatest pianist." He's like, "You're a what?" "Pianist." And they says, "Mwah. Good night, everybody."
My goodness gracious.
And everyone remembers Avatar: The Last Airbender. Everyone. Including my sister, who won't shut up about Korra, who thinks it's better than the original, which it's not, but, you know.
It's really not. I've had arguments with my friend about how much Korra messed up, but apparently I'm in the wrong.
You're not, don't worry.
I know I'm not, but apparently I am.
Anyway,
It's silly.
yeah.
They were hosting a yearly extravagant award
Oh,
show,
yeah,
the Kids'
the
Choice Awards,
the
that
Kids'
had
Choice
highest paid
Awards.
man in the history of time, and 10-time world heavyweight champion Dwayne Dwainson hosting.
Dwayne
they managed to get a
Dwayne
hotel
Dwainson.
modeled in their image that let you sleep under the watchful gaze of Cosmo, and could
Yeah.
even take the hit of just giving up on showing anything for a whole day in the futile attempt to get kids to go outside their house and play.
That was weird.
Fun fact, did you know that this happened on one of the worldwide days of play?
It's Nickelodeon's Worldwide Day of Play. We're outside playing, and you should be too. We'll be back in...
Yeah, this happened.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Salt Lake City Police Department. There is a fire at the Tesoro Refinery in Salt Lake City. Toxic
Yeah.
materials may be burning in the fire, and anyone exposed to these chemicals may be injured.
I was just doing what SpongeBob told me to do. Nowadays, Nicktoons is terrible. I mean, look at this. What is this? I don't understand
Yeah.
this. Nickelodeon
What?
was
Harvey
so
Beats
much
is
better when-
cool.
What? Harvey... Wait, what? I don't even know
Harvey Beats. It's literally by the same person that made the Chowder series.
Oh, really? Then it might be
Yeah,
good.
yeah. He made that one. Is after Chowder was over, he went on to Nickelodeon, made that, and it kind of like after a couple seasons, I guess it got canceled because Nickelodeon sucks. And then he made Jellystone, and he's currently, and his current project, to my knowledge, is Jellystone.
We should watch more Jellystone, honestly, over here.
We should. It's so freaking funny.
I did a few reactions to Jellystone, and I feel like I should do more, because it's a really good show. It's so silly.
It is.
I don't know how Yogi Bear became a doctor, but I don't think he's licensed.
It's like, you're a doctor. You wouldn't hurt a patient. Unlucky for you, I'm off duty. Yogi. I love this Super series so much.
Oh yeah, some of these don't look great.
It was so much better when I was a kid.
Oh my
now
God.
They just have Grinch mechs.
Never heard of
Drongo
it.
and Pimboli.
Oh, yeah, that
Hoist,
thing.
Moist, Poist, and Rugrats. Fuck, why can't these shows be less for children and more logic-based like the shows of my childhood?
Oh my
like
God.
Rowdy Rui's Big Kablooey, Cocked Bone, and...
He's just making up these things now. He's making up the names for some reason. Because that was
Yeah.
Rocket Power, I didn't quite see the middle one. Oh, Chalk Zone. I remember Chalk Zone.
Question: does anyone remember? I think it was called. It was called something to do with monsters. It was an early Nickelodeon show.
You mean Real Monsters?
Yeah, thank you. That's real. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I remember it.
Also, I don't know if anyone knows this random trivia fact, but it has to do with like the Nickelodeon show. When they canceled Angry Beavers, they never aired the final episode because the characters literally, because the voice actors broke character and started referring to themselves as their real names.
Really?
And because there was actually a law that basically stated that cartoon characters are not allowed to break the fourth wall, they never aired it.
Wow, that is dumb.
Yeah, like, I don't think that's still a thing, but that's what I heard, that they never aired the final episode because the voice actors literally started referring to themselves as their actual names and not character names. And at the time, characters weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we have literal shows that break the fourth wall, but yeah, for some reason back then, that was a big no-no.
Yeah, that's dumb. Also, My Adventures as a Teenage Robot was pretty good from what I remember.
Yeah.
And the days of our lives as leaky pipes.
Oh my god.
Made for children, they're made for me.
I mean, cartoons are made for everyone.
Cartoons aren't getting worse, you're getting older. Don't you have a wife or something? Why do you care about Large Antonio? Also, some of the cartoons are worse. That is part of it.
Yeah, that is part of it. Some of them are worse. Like, there is no denying. Some of them are definitely worse. But yeah, I don't think... cartoons are just made for everyone. If you can enjoy them, have fun with them.
So hard to dance around, fell out of the mind prison of Stephen Hillenburg.
Oh, yeah.
A man from an age where most men were called boys, you know, childhood, Stephen had two passions, art and the ocean. It all started back with the Jacques Cousteau oceanography films, which let him see a world unlike any other. He'd grow up to not only be a band geek, get it, and work as a fry cook, get it, but would also end up moving to Arcata, California to pursue a degree in marine sciences with an art minor.
I
It was
miss
there that the
him.
roots
May
of
he
his
rest in
would be
peace.
planted.
Yeah, may he rest in peace. The one thing I'm always sad is that the Super Bowl never allowed them to play Sweet Victory, which is one of the things he wanted. Because the Super Bowl sucks.
Yeah, but it was like years later that they did. I think it was like last year that they did, but it wasn't worth it. At that point, it's just like...
Because they kept saying
it was
no.
a bad...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so stupid.
Anyway. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, he was a marine biologist.
Which is funny, because you can literally tell that, like, if you look at some of the episodes of Spongebob and some of the stuff they do, you can tell that it's actually rooted in actual marine biology, which is kind of, like, cool, actually.
Yeah, like, plankton actually looks like a piece of plankton, though they're actually much smaller than that.
Yeah, and how, like, there's literally water under the ocean, like the lagoon. That kind of stuff is actual thing.
Oh.
With the scientific comic The Intertidal Zone. In it was a character named Bob the Sponge, and unlike the completely unrealistic one that we ended up with, his design was actually based on a sea sponge. Can't you just see yourself eating cereal with this friendly face on the cover? Eventually, Steven decided the picture should probably stretch out and start moving more, and got to work animating, creating shorts like The Green Beret and Wormholes, which eventually led him to a directing job on Rocko's Modern Life. This would launch him into pitching his own show, which crossed over his two loves of animation and all things wet into this new show all about a fry-cooking sponge and his wacky friends. That's right, Sponge Boy Ahoy, except he couldn't actually call it that because Big Mop would punch him in the stomach till he threw up if he did.
Really?
Slightly more fun fact than the last not very fun fact, the story of Sponge Boy being unavailable as a name thanks to a mop brand is very popular.
Wow.
But I can't actually find any mop that was called Sponge Boy, so Big Mop once again using his power to keep down the animation industry. Soon Sponge Boy had his Y hacked off and a B was sewn on in its place as SpongeBob SquarePants premiered on July 17, 1999, and while it was no mime, it saw similar levels of success.
It was more levels of success than any other show on Nickelodeon. It was insane.
A little too much to the point where it's still going.
I don't think it's still going now, but yeah, the earlier seasons were fun. Later stuff is Ren and Stimpy, more or less.
Yeah, but no, SpongeBob is still going on, even though the actors are very older and a lot of the audience has changed. But also, Mick, what's that smelly smell that smells smelly?
Anchovies.
I can never not stop quoting that. It's so funny.
Anchovies. But yeah. Anyway, what else was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. God damn it, you made me forget, Fable. Why do you do this to me?
Not my fault the anchovies came in.
Anyway, SpongeBob was a lot more fun early on where they were having a bit more fun, but after Hillenburg left, I feel like it did downturn, unfortunately.
Yeah, he also said he never wanted the series to, like, he wanted to end it on the SpongeBob movie.
That's
if anything, like, he said it was like the perfect ending for SpongeBob, and he never wanted the series to have any like spin-offs and stuff. So after, sadly, his death, we ended up getting a butt ton of spin-offs because Nickelodeon was just like, yeah, we're not even gonna wait till he's cold. It's just like, you guys are messed up.
Yeah,
like, beyond messed up.
Like some people say, well, we don't know if he changed his mind. I feel like even if he did, that's still kind of suspect to immediately do it after he dies.
Yeah, like, respect the man's wishes, guys. Come on. But no, the executives wanted money.
I just remember the actors at one point came together and they started speaking like the characters. And at one point, Squidward's actor said, "Patrick, can't you be stupid somewhere else?"
Yeah,
I love that.
Teens in a room together and watch them communicate.
One day I just want to say it to one of my friends and have them actually say, "Not till 4."
It wasn't a boys' show or a girls' show. It wasn't action.
It was just a show.
It was SpongeBob. It was 3 seasons of all but solid gold television, and while I'd argue you can probably bump it up to 4 seasons, and the new stuff from like season 10 onwards,
wait, what?
whenever the second movie came out.
Wait, these are just the voice actors.
Really good.
What is this?
They actually did a special, or like I think like a mini movie, where they actually had the voice actors reprising their, doing their roles as their characters.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's really funny because the voice actor of Plankton even was just like, when Mr. Krabs found Plankton, he's just like, I knew it was you, Plankton. He's like, was it my voice? It was so stupid.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, like, that's what he said. Also, I literally, when I was in, visiting my friends in Colorado like 2 years ago now, I saw that SpongeBob musical thing. Plankton, literally the person who was singing as Plankton did a rap god moment, and he rapped so fast, it was ridiculous.
What the hell?
I wish I was kidding. This is a literal thing.
Was more SpongeBob games than I personally.
Yeah, there is a lot of SpongeBob
games. I made this
games.
video about a lot of different SpongeBob
Not all of
games,
them are
like
good,
Lights,
sadly.
Camera, Pants,
Yeah,
Employee
some
of
of
the
them
Month,
are, at
or
least, and
Cosmic
that's
Shake,
good.
But that doesn't exist yet,
Yeah.
so it would be very hard to make a video.
Maybe
It
we'll
all
play
started
Cosmic
in
Shake one
2001
day.
when they finally managed to trap SpongeBob on the Game Boy with Legends of the Lost Spatula on March 15th, before dividing and conquering the PC with Operation Krabby Patty
Wait,
on
there's a
September
PC
24th,
game?
and Super Sponge on November 21st for the Game Boy Advance and PlayStation, which is most notable for the filthy pornography left on the game disc. That is not a joke. That
What?
is deadly serious. However,
What?
the first big attempt at a SpongeBob console game for the first generation would
what
have to
the
wait
hell?
until 2002 when the PS2 and GameCube got hit in the back of the head with Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. This was a game that ended up being so not very good that the developers immediately died after finishing it.
Wow.
It's clunky, buggy, and reeks of a studio that had to try to continue after their French parent company died in the middle of development of a Jimmy Neutron game that they later had to have the code reworked into a playable demo presented to Nickelodeon that landed them the contract to make the game in a crunch. It's a lavender scent, a bit of walnut. This was such a scarring experience for Nickelodeon, they decided to wait a full year before trying to fail again, which saw them teaming with Heavy Iron Studios, who are best known for nothing, and who have since gone on to make a game for the Stadia, meaning all hope is lost.
Yes, all hope is lost if you go
Stadia.
Stadia.
SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom.
Oh,
this
yeah,
game
this one.
needs no introduction, except for this one. Battle for Bikini
Except for
Bottom
this
is
one.
one of the most beloved and well-regarded platformers of its time. Collectathon games in the vein of
I really need to
Banjo-Kazooie
finish
or
this.
Mario 64 were on their way out, and instead of caving to the intense demand to give SpongeBob a gun, they instead decided to stick
Give
to what didn't
SpongeBob
work
a
last
gun.
time with Revenge of the Flying Dutchman and
Listen,
keep it collectible.
SpongeBob
Needless to say,
with a
it turns
gun
out
would
a
make
little
heads
better.
roll,
Battle for
man,
Bikini
dude.
Bottom is still regarded as
It
a
would.
prime example of how to make a licensed game.
It won't be right, and it'll be kind of really conversation. Like,
Talking about the speedrunning history of this
it'll
game
be
is
just-
way
it'll be
more
messed
interesting than
up.
talking about the game itself.
Yeah.
With it being found that strategic grime can be employed to glitch the game disc in your favor. This
Really?
technique is not called the Dirty Dan strategy, meaning that no real SpongeBob fans play this game. This is a licensed game, a licensed kids game from the early 2000s that is so well regarded, it got a remake.
Yeah, it
a
did.
remake? You don't need a video game to advertise SpongeBob anymore. It's SpongeBob. That's like trying to advertise air. People just love the game so much that they saw the market for people who want to play it again.
Maybe one day if I ever have
to
kids,
the
I
fact
want to
that
introduce them to
Rehydrated
SpongeBob.
existing is really weird and in equal measures
SpongeBob.
really cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of speaking, why aren't I talking about that game instead of this one? I mean,
Yeah.
I beat it in preparation for this video. Well, see, I have this friend. His name is Jack with 2 Ks, and he played it and thought that while SpongeBob, Patrick, and especially Sandy all controlled really well, the levels were fun, vibrant, and full of references that early season SpongeBob fans will flip for, and the game very obviously wears its Mario 64 inspirations on its sleeves. The grind to collect golden spatulas towards the end of the game, frustrating missions like the ball rolling, which my friend Jack, not me, Jack my friend, wanted me to show you this footage to show that he is at least smarter than an IGN critic, and
Smarter than the
real towards
IGN
the
critic.
end, keep it from being an amazing 3D platform.
That's not a
But
high
he does
bar.
acknowledge that it's still fun,
It's
and SpongeBob
really
fans especially have a
not.
great time. Also, I never played the game when I was younger. I was a SpongeBob movie boy myself. For all the talk
I
that Battle for Bikini
think I
Bottom
played when I
gets,
was
nobody
younger.
can
I'm
seem
not
to
sure.
spare the time to talk about the tie-in game to my favorite movie.
SpongeBob
This is not a joke. I've
movie.
written multiple page-long college essays on the SpongeBob movie, and if this video
Why?
gets 1 million views, I'll let you read them.
Why?
This movie holds a
Why?
special place in my heart, as
hell?
I've probably seen this movie more times than I've seen my own parents. If you want to know how...
Yeah.
What?
I don't know, but I will say this. I've watched this movie a lot when I was a kid. We had the DVD, and I watched it all the time. A little too much, I might add. I love SpongeBob as a kid, okay?
Permanently, this movie has
Hey,
destroyed
man,
my ability to
SpongeBob's a
function
good
in
song.
everyday society.
Yeah.
I have an intensely negative reaction to the song Ocean Man for no other reason
Ocean
than I
Man,
associate the SpongeBob
take
movie
me
ending.
by the
I was
hand,
obsessed
take
with this film when I was younger, as opposed to now, obviously, and I simply had to get the game that goes along with it. I
Yeah.
would play it all the time.
I just
can
remember,
probably beat the
what are
first
you,
level with my
crazy?
eyes
I was
closed,
just gonna
and
tell you
what
that
I
your
can't
fly
say
is
I ever
down.
did was complete the whole thing. Collect everything the game had to offer, and as the maiden voyage for the sure-to-be long-running and influential Nick June, we'll be seeing if I can finally do what a 6-year-old couldn't and completely complete the SpongeBob movie game. So going over the plot of the game would just be a note-for-note retelling of the story of the movie, which most days I will be up to, but this time I think I'll hold back. Tell you what, 2 million views, I'll get blackout drunk and record myself recapping the story, or pissing myself, whichever one comes first. What you may notice off the bat, especially as
Yeah,
things
what the
progress,
hell?
is holy heck were these cutscenes cheaply made. And not the in-game ones, they're as good as Battle for Bikini Bottom, but when they bust out the vacation slideshow that's been replaced with a postcard collection recounting the SpongeBob movie, there's a problem. Look at this is just clip art of SpongeBob. It's the same SpongeBob that would show up on specially marked jugs of orange juice. Well, the reason for that is because they only had a year to make the game, because it had to be out in time for the movie. And surely these scenes would have been fully animated like the rest, but they simply held off and used stills. What's funnier is that the reason they couldn't just use clips from, I don't know, the SpongeBob movie was because the release date was like a double-edged sword, except both edges jabbed into
this
your
is a
body.
lot of
Since
thing with
the game
movie
came out
games.
before the movie,
They know the
Nickelodeon
kind
straight
of the
up wouldn't let them
plot,
use
but
footage
they
for fear of
can't.
harming the film's chances of being a success.
Yeah,
See
they
those
don't
box
usually let
office
them use
results?
footage.
Barely made it.
So the first level proper, and it's a tutorial to the game in the form of SpongeBob's manager dream. Not only do we get a pretty snazzy one-time costume, but we figure out the lay of the land. Returning from Battle for Bikini Bottom is the spin attack, and well, that seems to be it at first. Just jumping, spinning, and occasionally sliding down on your tongue. Two big things that you find out in this level are the secret chest, which unlock bonuses like concept art, costumes, and a cutscene viewer, and the weights. You see, men lift weights, so to be more man equals more weight. Unlike Battle for Bikini Bottom, where collecting shiny objects just got you more spatulas, weights in this game allow you to upgrade your skills. Right now, all I got is upgrading my health and my spin, but when I do, I get the ability to hit projectiles back. This is an advantage that took me a very long time to unlearn in Battle for Bikini Bottom. It also carries over the combo system, which means the more stuff you break in a chain, the more weights you get, which makes big box stacks and enemy hordes a lot more fun to tackle. So after SpongeBob gets the Goofy Goober token and gets rejected for his promotion, we move on to the best name for a level in a game and get introduced to Patrick.
I'm really
He plays pretty much the same as he did in Battle for Bikini Bottom, just better, since they swapped out his belly bump for a spin attack, which instantly makes him 10 times more fun to play as, because the belly bump could not hit anything. Of course, this upgrade did come at the cost of losing Sandy as a playable character, seeing as I think she has
No.
2 lines in the whole movie. It makes sense, and at least her lasso got grandfathered in as Patrick's tongue. So SpongeBob's getting sloshed at the Goofy Goober and being a good friend. We go to pick him up.
Literally
Here's
using
where we
stuff
meet
from the other
first
game,
real enemies
which
of the
makes
game in
sense.
this big belching friend and these broomstick swingers. They're taken out pretty easily, and in our way we find a few simple platforming challenges, including one that tries to trick me into missing a chest, but let me tell you, little baby Jack would never forget this location. It's my holy site. Here we run into Neptune's daughter,
Alright,
Mindy,
let's see where we're
bafflingly still
going.
voiced by Scarlett Johansson, and she says she can teach Patrick a new
Really?
move. She brings her 2 Goofy Goober tokens. I only have 1 Goofy Goober token, and there's a conveniently placed combat arena panel next to her. Well, if I didn't know any better. These panels take you to tons of different challenges in the game. The combat ones ask you to take on wave after wave of enemies, Dynasty Warrior style. These are nice little diversions, focusing on the combat instead of the platforming, but you have to be careful since the enemies always have a boost from what you're used to. We clear the challenge and learn the cartwheel, which lets us break through a wall to get an extra token. They don't call me Jack knows where all the Goofy Goober tokens are in the SpongeBob movie game for GameCube last name for nothing. After that,
I
is a
don't
mini
think they
battle
call
arena
you
with
that,
boxes and
Jack.
weights littered all over the place, and
I'm
an ice
so
cream
sorry
run
if they
after that.
do.
Some may
Oh
call
my
it gimmicky,
God.
but for all the odd ways Patrick's cartwheeling interacts with it, it's a worthwhile addition. After performing a pro move and getting
God,
another
all
chest,
this ice
it's on to
cream.
the last arena. It's here that I pop my upgrade and get the macho cartwheel. It
What does
takes
that
the normal
do?
Patrick and makes him say, "I'll cut off your nutsack!
Oh, it's...
To my door!" The best part is that on the way here, I skipped quite a few tokens I can't get to because I don't have the upgrades to do so. Unlike the last game, which went for more Mario 64 style, this goes for more Mario Galaxy, where it's a straight shot to the end with diversions to get more goodies. Oh yeah, Mario Galaxy's so influential, but does he ever get wasted on a triple gooberberry sunrise?
What?
Game. So after sobering
He
up, and
does.
done
We
with
just
more
don't see
drinking, by the
it.
way,
Oh my
SpongeBob
God,
curses
we
out
do not
Mr.
need to
Krabs
do
and
it.
sets his life on a 6-day countdown. We gotta, in order, get the crown, save
Yep.
the town, and Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
Of course, we aren't getting anywhere without a car, so we speed off into
Yeah, the
paddy
paddy
wagon.
wagon.
Next is a driving level, one of the original additions to this game. We just
Oh.
gotta make it to the end of the track without dying. Made
There
much
was
harder
a
by these
PC
blatant
game where it
OSHA
was all about
violations.
driving this
Of
thing.
course, where others see workplace negligence, I see opportunity as they let me cut right through the track. It's not a long drive to the end, and Mindy even gives us a token. We drive to the city limits where our car is immediately burgled. Well, at least these nice men have some sympathy.
Oh my God.
Holy moly, Pazzoli, was that necessary?
No, I don't think it was. What the hell?
Nah, I'm not feeling it. Nah, I'm just not playing this level. Not at least without 3 more Goofy Goober tokens. See, for each driving mission, there's your regular playthrough, the time trial, a ring challenge, and macho time. They're all exactly what you expect
Macho
they'd be, and that
time.
includes macho time. Whatever your first thought was, correct. I cleared them all real quick, and now I have more than enough for the uppercut, which is an ability SpongeBob had originally in his base moveset in Battle for Bikini Bottom that is now locked behind some progression. What isn't locked for long, though, is the macho uppercut, which is a remote explosive. They're really good for dealing with the spitters, which you can either take out by reflecting their vomit or by giving them the old up-the-butt special with your uppercut. To clear this level, we gotta take out the radio tower, since he wasn't even waiting until we left to enact Plan
Excuse
Z.
me?
Before getting much further, we also
we
have
don't
a
need to
Sponge Bowl
explain this.
challenge panel, which
We don't
follows
need
the
explanations
baffling
of
trend
this.
of early 2000s platformers being mandated
Monkey
by
Ball.
the government to include Super Monkey Ball. In Battle for Bikini Bottom, the ball is used maybe 3 times outside of just playing around with it in the overworld. Here, it's given a spotlight as one of the 3 panels. Here, you get to travel in these voids over tricky tracks in order to get the token. I call it Super Monkey Ball, but truly nothing controls like the Sponge Bowl. And that's a good thing. This thing's physics are finicky and loose, but in the same way
that's
that
not
someone
good.
can play Super Monkey Ball and not want to join those weird YouTube monkey hate comment trains, look it up. I actually
What?
enjoy these segments. I shouldn't enjoy this because
I
these
don't wanna
sections
look
were
it up.
clearly made just to make kids cry, but I am not a kid. I'm a big boy. The accomplishment comes just from managing to wrangle the controls in just the right way that you can
Starting to
wrestle
have
the wing
doubts,
away
bud.
from the game instead
Yeah.
of just standard platforming. What
I
I'm
can
saying is that I
understand.
like that it's unfair. We also get 2 more tokens simply by bouncing along and bungee jumping with our underpants. It's a living. We also get a shot at another
Underpants.
token in a Patrick
Yeah.
panel. This one is all about platforming as opposed to combat and masochism like the other 2. Just get to the token to win. It's what's between
okay.
you and that that's
It's
the
because
problem.
of
He
the
probably
shaking
isn't, but Patrick
boxes.
just feels heavier than SpongeBob, so to give him the platforming challenges is quite cruel. You'll encounter
Ah,
a few
that's
different
what he
block
means.
types like bouncy blocks, ice blocks, and cock blocks, which are always fun to run into. At
What?
the finish line, oh man, the acid I bought 2 years ago is finally kicking in. Another big battle arena and Patrick's swinging puzzle later, and this level is history. For all my hard work collecting chests, I get a trailer.
Bigger.
Oh. Oh yeah, this trailer. You remember this one?
Oh yeah.
What the fuck is this movie? After that is a sliding mission, which is just like the driving mission, except stopping is something non-macho men do, and I am the machoist man, so there's no stopping. You just gotta keep going down the track and hit
He's
targets
Macho
until
Man
score
Randy
down.
Savage?
First go around is easy
No,
enough,
he's
but this
Macho
and all the
Man.
other sliding
He's gonna body
challenges are
slam the human
absolutely
race.
brutal in the other 3 challenges. For
Oh
this
my
stage, the time
God.
trial is fine since I got a good idea on the shortcuts, but there's only so much you can do for the ring challenge. It requires a perfect playthrough of the track on paths that you can miss by a hair and be sent barreling back to the beginning, since ring challenges give you no checkpoints. This bit at the end with the wobbling stones is hell on earth and ended more runs
looks
than I
like
like
it.
to admit. The macho time as well as no cakewalk, but I got it on my second try as opposed to my 12th try with the ring challenge. Just limit yourself to single jumps whenever you can, because double jumps tend to kill momentum. By the start of the next level, we've managed to track down the paddy wagon to the only building for miles, the Thug Tug. Here we get the
Thug
Butt
Tug.
Smash, which can be upgraded pretty much immediately into the
That sounds
Macho
dirty
Butt Smash.
somehow.
It's a slam that
Oh,
lets you stun
yes, it's
enemies and
probably
is best at
something
taking
very
out the
dirty.
dog walkers, who are impossible to approach otherwise. Also, watching Patrick land face first on the ground with a super loud has remained funny for a decade. We gotta get the paddy wagon key back, and in our way is brand new TNT barrels, as well as enemies who can hide in the wall and shoot at you as soon as you get close. Luckily for us,
spatula.
they don't actually have any defense from just going up and smashing them, so we're in the clear. The Thug Tug is a solid mix of at least decent platforming challenges mixed with fun combat arenas, including their disco room and evil lava
Disco
lane, which I
room?
assume is the VIP lounge. We got another combat arena with
Evil
enemies that
lava.
are quite a bit faster than you're going to be ready for before making our way to the lava part I mentioned. Another sponge bowl, which adds these rotating tunnels
Alright.
later, and we slide all the way back down to the beginning, where we get ambushed and have to fight our way back to the possession of the key. It's our lucky day, though,
Nice.
since the gates outside are locked and give us a new driving mission. Again, all the missions in this one are pretty tricky, but the ring one is especially painful. With this one, you not only get taken around every possible route on the track, you also have hairpin turns that you need to make one after the other, with the penalty being either missing your chance or zooming right past the ring. The macho time is pretty strict, but at least it gives you some wiggle room. Rings mean you either get it on your first try or all the way off. Out of sight, out of mind, and we stop to get some ice cream. As a lactose intolerant,
remember
this is just
this
what ice
part?
cream does to my
Dear
insides
God, it was
regardless.
horrifying.
This is a boss fight, the first of its kind, and it's the hardest part of the entire game.
Really?
Ah, crap, I had my notes upside down. 1 second. It's actually easy. Just knock down the frogfish, knock around the lady when she comes to get you, and get a token.
This was kind of
This is in
horrifying as
similar
a
vein
kid.
to most, if not all,
I
platform
mean, I can
bosses
see
being
why.
a lot harder before you were out of the 3rd grade. Sadly, despite winning, we still lose our car and are faced with a deep, dark trench. SpongeBob and Patrick feel like giving up till Mindy gives them a pep talk and a pair of mustaches. before they're ready
remember,
to
now
go.
that they're
What in
men.
the movie was a 20-second joke of them falling is turned into one of the more hair-pulling levels in the game as we're back on the slide. For those keeping track in the audience, that's 3 levels in a row that aren't typical platforming. This track, though, not only is it long, so when the ring challenge comes, it requires 100% attention lest you get sent back to the start, the macho time is brutal. You have the chance to take intended shortcuts in the track, but I find that the best thing to do is to find the ones that were either never meant to be used or were meant to be used and were put there by a crazy person. See this right here? This is a skip. Hop off the sea monster's back, take a hit, skip a good part of the track. Here, fall on a bit of the track while going the wrong way, then follow the weights to safety. There's so many different paths and tunnels that you kind of have to mix and match to see which one's going to get you where you need to go the fastest.
This is insane.
The saddest is when you think you have it and you see the finish line heart full of
full
hope
hard
until you
on
notice, oh, I am not getting there in time. I actually realized I'm not a man, so I think I'll just sit this one out. Some people may think that art, nature, their significant others, babies are beautiful. Can they really compare to a perfect macho time run through of Rock Slide? Get a life, loser!
Yeah,
So
I
on to
think they
Rock Bottom
can.
Itself, and I think it's about time I bring up just how impressive it is this game was made in a calendar year. The easy way out would have just been to go through reskins of Battle for Bikini Bottom levels. Just go back to Jellyfish
It's amazing
Fields,
what
Kelp
some
Forest,
people could
maybe
do
throw
in
a
only a
Frog
single
Tug and
year in
call it a
creating
day.
video
But
games.
playing these back to back, I can barely see any reused assets, and the new environments they did make look amazing. This game takes scenes from the movie and fleshes them out into these visually amazing and fully realized platforming levels.
Yeah, it's
Think
kinda
about what
crazy.
they're actually working with. The Goofy Goober scene, 3 minutes. The Trench, about 2. They took these short scenes and managed to make these levels feel like they fit right into the world. I don't think they get enough credit for how different they managed to make this game look in so little time. Not just look,
Nice work.
but sound. My least favorite part of Battle for Bikini Bottom was definitely the music. It kind of just felt like all the songs in the game were imported from a royalty-free Hawaiian music CD that you'd find at a flea market.
Not
Nothing in the
surprising.
game sounded like it was made for the game. Here, the songs not only sound a lot better, but are super well themed to their levels. I'm Ready Depression
Nice.
sounding like a melting Chuck E. Cheese jukebox. trucks, bubble blow, and baby hunt, sounding like they booked Motorhead's non-union Mexican equivalent. And 3,000 Miles to Shell City reuses the driving level theme. It's super fitting and still sounds just like a jug band. As for Now That We're Men, this is another good platforming test with a much bigger emphasis on enemy fights than any other stage, especially in its combat panel, which has endgame enemies and massive waves with quick attacks that manages to steal 30 minutes of my life. The majority of the back half of the level is made up with this combination trampoline lava puzzle that needs you to use your new power-up, the bowling ball, to set these bouncy pads at the right height so you can get from one to the next. After a fun ride on the back of the lava monster you bounced off in Rock Slide, you get an elevator of death as waves of enemies come to kill you. Just before the end of the level, we have a chance to grab another token and a floating block challenge that really puts
you
your
don't
feet
have
to
to
the
do
fire
all
with
these,
sections
right,
that
Jack?
mix and match all the blocks, adding in new ones like slippery ice blocks and blocks that never stop rotating.
No,
and the
he
end of the challenge
must.
having you fall
He
all
must
the way past
prove
down
himself.
these spike blocks, and if
To
anybody
who,
you
you?
doesn't do a macho slam off the
Yes.
top rope, you can still be friends with them. Just make
And
sure
the
to keep pepper
others.
spray on you in case they go for a handshake. After that, I guess to make up for keeping us on the racing track for so long, they give us the double whammy of platforming levels. Fresh
Alright.
out of the trenches, the devs managed to turn a scene that takes less than a single footstep into an entire level. This one is a
Goddamn.
junkyard where you have to smash all the screens broadcasting Plankton's message to no one. The most heavily populated area of them all. A soda can. Aw, look at that. Heavy Iron put a reference to themselves on the license plate. That's so sweet. All right, nobody likes a narcissist. Cut it out. Here, Patrick gets his final ability to throw stuff, which immediately goes macho, which lets us throw stuff further. Not only can you throw melons, but boxes and even stunned enemies. Stun them with a slam and then toss them. It's his last power-up, and it does pretty substantially change how you approach puzzles and enemies. The ability to snipe tough enemies so you don't have to deal with them is great, especially these bucket copters who are the toughest the game has to offer. This level is full of great challenges like a rising acid pit that leads us to another token, a tongue-swinging challenge, and another one we'll cover in a bit. On our way out, the game is really racking up the difficulty, putting our carrying abilities to the test before we even leave the level we got it in. However, it's a quick hop, skip, and a jump to the end of the level and the fight with Dennis. Now, I know people dog on the Mermaid Man and Mr. Krabs in Battle for Bikini Bottom for sounding like their fifth choice to voice the character.
Pesky robot has taken over me ticket booth. You help me get rid of that no-good robot.
But we also gotta give props to the guy who voices Dennis for sounding absolutely nothing like Alec Baldwin.
Don't worry,
Nope.
this'll only hurt a lot.
Wait, Dennis was played by Alec Baldwin?
Apparently.
Okay.
I love this job.
For his fight, all you gotta do is toss stuff at him until he dies, but he's not gonna let you win that easy, since you have to not only survive him using Spongebob as a mallet, but the waves of enemies he
I was
sends to
using
get you.
SpongeBob
Targeting
as a
with the throw is
mallet.
just ever so clunky, and as a result, you're locked in place just long enough for something to hit you. After you give him the business is then thrown right back in your face. What in the movie plays out is a bittersweet scene where SpongeBob and Patrick tearfully walk together into oblivion after accepting that you can't live your life by other people's standards and finding solace with the very thing that they were mocked for, punctuated as they shed a tear and let out a defiant song with their last breath. Becoming men in their own way is replaced with fun clown, chase the peanut, colors, lights, sounds, feelings.
Wait, what?
Flatline, they're dead, they're gone, they left the mortal plane, the pirates are crying. Big ol' gumball!
I remember
this
the
is even
pirates
more
crying.
original than the last level, seeing as this place does not even exist. As far as the driving stages
Yeah.
go, I hate to say it, but this is probably the worst one. Visually, top tier, untouchable. In the tier of not having hairpin turns in large sections where damage is either unavoidable or the ground causes you to smash into walls, let's put it at a solid D tier. I will
dear
say, though,
God.
that the shortcuts are tuned up to 11, to the point that shortcuts have shortcuts, and they're pretty well marked, with this one even advertising the next game. Once the tier of the Goofy Goober revives our heroes, we have to get out of Shell City Gift Shop, and it's our final sliding stage. Oh boy, you know what the other levels just had way too much of? Room for error. I was kind of hoping there would be less. Sliding around in King Neptune's crown,
Dear
you gotta
God.
hit the valves to release more water and revive the fish, a lesson that led to a traumatizing realization with a bottle of water and a dead fish on the beach. What makes this level so difficult is just how open it is. Most of the other slide missions kept you on a set track. Here you have tons of options on which way to go, and as such, there are a lot of ways to lose time and get sidetracked. It's actually a really short track when you know where you need to go, and the game knows that and tests you on that when it comes to the macho time. That's not, of course, to discount the ball ache that is the ring challenge. You can guess that this wide openness means that they were gonna have a real ball giving you the runaround to get that token. After I get through that, there's no time to rest. Once you finish that, we gotta get back to Bikini Bottom, where I said, oh, right. Well, I can't say anything, but let's just say a certain Hoff couldn't be hassled to have his name be used in the game.
Wait,
As we ride
what?
Hoff home, Bigger Boot comes back. Huh. So anyway, Dennis is back.
There's a boss fight on the back of Hasselhoff.
Dennis is gone. No, I will not be elaborating. Not even.
Wait, Matt, what was that? All I heard was a dolphin noises.
Oh my god.
Back to Planktop.
Apparently, David Hasselhoff wouldn't allow himself to be used in the video game Fable.
I heard dolphin noises again. What?
Oh my god.
Plus, we get the final upgrade, the guitar.
Never mind.
Which is already a massive upgrade to the Bumbles of the last game, but is upgraded even more by becoming the macho guitar. With it, I can tackle all the challenges in front of me. Or rather, the challenges behind me.
I guess I'll never
Not until I
learn,
do
but
the
okay,
three guitar
that's fun.
challenges while
Oh
I'm
my
finishing this level.
god.
Beckon, I'm ready.
You know what happened.
I guess.
Oh my god.
Depression, Bubble Blowing Baby
You
Hunt,
watch-
and Shell City Dead Ahead, there were challenges to fly through rings using the guitar that I couldn't do until now. I also couldn't do them till now since, as a kid, these were my white whale. I couldn't even tie my own shoes, let alone do something like this. But that changes today. Depression and babies are both beaten as I go on to Shell City Dead Ahead. And with it goes 50 minutes of my life as the sunk cost fallacy takes effect.
Yeah.
I wasn't moving on until I got this one right. This one takes you on a guided tour of the entire level, having you fly into walls and make sharp turns that come out of nowhere. Not helped by the generally weird and inverted controls, but I'm finally able to avenge my childhood as I go on to get the token, as well as the other tokens I'm missing in previous levels. It's finally time to take on Planktopolis. If it's your first time playing a video game, you might expect this level to be easy, but it's actually the hardest. Every single one of your tools is needed to pass this level. Macho bowling, uppercut, and especially the guitar are all put to the test, as well as tools you've had all along, like the wall jump. Enemies are at their toughest, and platforming is at its trickiest. The copter enemies are now fought in multiples, which means you have little time to reflect.
It's actually using all the things you've learned
to
go into the game.
Especially
it's what the final level should be.
The hitbox compared to the vomit guys. These missiles also leave a little shockwave on the ground, which I'm just so happy they did. I would have just wasted those hit points anyway. The level itself is hard enough, but they also throw in the side challenges. There's a super close bungee challenge, skating on ice with just enough time to get to your goal, and a battle arena, which makes the last one seem like a cakewalk. This one took me at least, I don't know, 2,000 tries?
Are you ready, kids? What? Oh, you have to take out the one jellyfish? Wait, what?
Jesus, devs, show mercy! The main obstacle for the level is plankton statues that can blast you from a long distance. Of course, you have the guitar to even your odds, but that doesn't help much when you have to hit them while on a conveyor belt trying to aim at two statues at once. It's obviously the toughest level in the game, but it's just the right challenge. It doesn't throw anything new at you, just throws everything you've faced in the game thus far, cranked up to 100. That 100 goes to 101 when you get to the final room. 3 copters in the center shooting 15 missiles at you at a time, barely enough time to get a guitar shot off before they wallop you. The best way I found is to just reflect them all until they're dead and make a run for the end, because even more enemies show up before the end of the level. At the end of the level, though, we find Plankton, who came just to brag to us. We gotta make it to the Krusty Krab 2 before Krabs is killed, and the only way to do that is with another driving section. You may catch on pretty quickly that this track is just the first track in the game flipped and repainted to be Plankton themed. It's honestly a great idea for both saving time and showing how bad things have gotten. In the realm of making it a good course, okay, first go around and the time trials are fine, but you wouldn't have guessed it, the rings and macho time are brutal. Considering the fact that the whole level might as well be covered in oil for how much is on the ground, I'm shocked that I can even drive straight. This level does really get you thinking, though. Who likes ring sections? Who are these made for? Sir, why did you give the game a 3 out of 10? You said you loved it. Where's the ring section? All I'm saying is that any developer that puts a ring challenge in a game that involves racing should just have to pay more taxes at the end of the year. Time to play a game that I plan on including in every single episode from now on, Warhammer 40k or Spongebob plot. Humanity uses technology to entrap, enslave, and make God do their bidding. Vote on your phones now. Time's up at Spongebob. To start the
funniest thing is, I'm helping Cars beat Space Marine 2, and I've already beat Space Marine 2. It's already out here.
Fight Neptune tries to fry you, and all you have to do is dodge 3 times before he starts screaming, which is one of the funnier combinations of words the English language gave us. It all seems hopeless except for the fact that turning the tables does exactly that. Just flip all the tables in the restaurant and hide behind crabs. Neptune blasts himself, and from there you just gotta use the guitar. Repeat this a few times, and he'll switch up his attack to this electrical web, which even as a big boy, I still have trouble dodging. The timing is just so weird. Once Once you get him down to the last phase, the music switches to Goofy Goober Rock, a song I had no idea was based on I Wanna Rock by Twisted Sister and did cause a minor crisis of faith when I first heard it out in the wild.
Really?
Also means I'm turning to another station because Viacom does not play around with copyright.
Oh, of course
They're
not.
involved, I can't play a clip from the stupid movie without worrying they'll come to my house and try to kill my cats. Yeah, okay, that should be better. The level itself also changes up as the game decides that bag fumbling was at an all-time low and throws in these two guys to take the fight down just those few rungs it shouldn't have. The chance to slip slide off the platform while providing clips like this, which, yep, does twist the knife that little bit. Doesn't matter though, as I still get the job done and get to see, ooh, daddy-o, you're telling me this game ships tomorrow? 1 second, I got a Google Image tab open and a dream. I'm in a bit of a weird position here. For years and years, I heard Battle for Bikini Bottom is one of the best Spongebob games, best licensed games, and best platformers on the GameCube. It's the best. And after playing them back-to-back, I see everything that people praise Battle for Bikini Bottom for.
Alright.
In the movie game, I had a much better time and generally see this as the more impressive game. Of course, they couldn't have made it this way if they didn't have the BFBBB, Battle for Bikini Bottom base, but even still, I just think that the movie game is the better game. Is it because I played it as a kid without playing Battle for Bikini Bottom and I love the movie? Yeah, duh, of course it's gonna color my opinion and it doesn't matter. I just think it's a stellar platformer and should probably be mentioned in the same breath as Battle for Bikini Bottom, and isn't because speedruns for it haven't taken off. Regardless, I'm just relieved to have come back and seen that this game is still good, and I'm even happier to get Nick June off to a great start. I've got plenty more exciting videos planned for the rest of the month, crap.
So, what'd you think of the video, Fable?
It was interesting. I kind of enjoyed it.
That's good to know. He seems like just your style of crazy.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all so much. If you like what we're doing here, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.